Good evening and welcome to the Pulse. I'm Elena Barbera, tonight's guest host. So, we got a rude awakening last night, didn't we? Watching America's biggest and most influential city elect a socialist, unpatriotic, inexperienced, but charismatic actor into the city's highest office. Starting on January 1st, Zohran Mamdani, a self titled Democratic socialist, will be the new mayor of New York City. I hear a lot of people saying, let New York fall. They're doing this to themselves. But what becomes New York is a national problem. And here's why. For starters, we should never, ever be rooting for any part of our country to fall into chaos. That in itself is as un-American as Zohran Mamdani himself, who clearly despises our way of life. Add to it that New York's cancer never stays in New York. Think back to like the 80s and the 90s when folks in the heartland would scoff at the weirdos and the libs in the big cities around America, thinking they would always have their way of life preserved like a time capsule. Fast forward to today, and once wholesome small towns have been overtaken by liberal politicians, drag queens, and illegal aliens. Whoever thought that places like Dearborn, Michigan, or Springfield, Ohio would be on the nation's radar? Back then, whoever thought Nashville would be deep blue or Texas would be barreling toward purple? The examples are unlimited. The poison that's taken hold in New York can and will spread if we allow it. I'm not trying to be a fear monger. I'm just trying to be straight about what the problem is, and we do need to address it. Anyway, Virginia and Jersey did not fare too well either, with Republicans losing both gubernatorial seats to far-left progressive candidates. Now, all of these places are blue, so none of this should come as too big of a surprise to anyone. Still, we've got a lot to say about it tonight. So let me introduce my co-hosts and tonight's special guests. So first of all, I've got Damon Galdo from Jersey Shore. Damon, you here? No, Damon. Damon's not in yet. He's having technical difficulties. All right. Well, we're going to move on to special guest. First, number one, I've got Justin Murphy, who's running for Senate out of New Jersey in 2026. Justin, happy to have you. You there?
I am now. Thank you. How are you?
All right. We're having a tough time tonight.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Next guest that we're going to be bringing in tonight is our good friend of the network, Mr. Jack Bragnon.
Hi, Elena. How are you?
Good to see you again, Jack. All right, let's just bring in the whole crew.
There we go.
There we go. All right.
Good evening, Elena. How are you? How's Jack?
Good.
Good. Damon, I heard Damon's here. Where is he? I don't see him.
Somewhere out there in cyberspace.
Let's get to it.
Oh, there I am.
Oh,
sorry, guys. This is the first time of me using my phone, so I apologize because my laptop, something went out with it. Trying to figure it out. So hopefully I don't pause or static. If I do, you guys can drop me off. So.
All right. Well, just pop back in. If you pop off, just pop back in. Don't worry about it. We don't need to make a fuss over it. It happens.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like I am like a lady teacher in a boys school right now.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. When Seth gets here, it's going to be like a reform school.
Yeah.
All right, let's get straight to the New York mayor's race. Mamdani beat Sliwa and Cuomo easily. He got the majority of the votes. I kind of thought he was only going to he wasn't going to get over 50%, and the other two combined would have gotten 50%, but he would have still won. No, he actually he took the whole the whole prize, and he deserved his win, as awful as that is to say out loud. We're going to go through a few pieces of his victory speech from last night, which by all accounts was not as warm and fuzzy as his campaign at all. This first clip, I'd like you to pay attention, of course, to what he's saying, but I'd like you to also pay attention to the audience's reaction he talks about two different groups of people, and I want to talk. I wish Seth was here because I had this one reserved for him, but oh well. I want to talk about the audience reaction to each group of people he talks about. Let's pop it up.
And we will build a city hall that stands steadfast alongside Jewish New Yorkers and does not waver in the fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism. Where the more than 1 million Muslims know that they belong. Not just in the 5 boroughs of this city, but in the halls of power. No more will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election.
So, Damon, did you hear the difference in those two levels of applause? What do you think that says about what's happened in New York?
Well, I'll be your Seth right now. Okay, I want to take over for Seth and step in for him. Fuck him, that guy. I mean, really, he's an actor. That's what he did his entire campaign. He lied about everything. He said he hated the police, defunded the police. Oh, I apologize. I love the police. I'm gonna give you government-run grocery stores. Yeah, how's that going to happen when food runs out? I want to give you free buses. Okay, what happens when you have bums that get on the bus and sleep on there, and you're going to have crime on the buses? Like we talked about before, I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, before a girl stabbed in the neck when we were talking about this bus situation. You're going to have vagrants on there. This guy promised everyone the world and saying, we're going to give it all to you for free. And these idiots that voted him in, and I'm sorry, but sometimes I think it just has to, you have to, every 20 years, something like this happens where people have to realize that socialism and Marxism and communism that he is, that it doesn't work. But when he said what he said there, he lied about everything. He would not denounce globalized intifada at all. And now that he got in, look at what he said right there. Listen, I don't care if Muslims are here. I don't care if Jewish people are here. I don't care if Catholics are here. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't care if you're a Buddhist, I'm a monk. It doesn't matter. Everyone's religion is respected. But that dude right there just painted the picture of what he's going to do. That guy is dangerous, and I'm just glad Trump is saying he's going to cut all funding for the, give him as little as he has to. But that guy is dangerous, and people just made a mistake in New York. And that's going to, it's going to cause a lot of problems and division in the entire country.
Yeah, I completely agree. Jack, what do you think about what he said when he said that he's going to make sure that City Hall is a place where, he can work with alongside the Jews of New York?
I don't believe that at all. I think this is just him talking to his crowd. And I agree. He can say any lie that he wants because, first of all, if you look at most of the Muslim countries, they're very comfortable in third world conditions. So if things deteriorate in New York, I don't think he's going to have a problem with that. I don't think the Democrats will have a problem with that. What's going to happen, in my opinion, is that there's going to be a mass migration of Muslims into New York City. And they are going to make it a Muslim geography, boroughs, city, whatever you want to call it. And once they're there, they don't leave. So I think you may have seen on the news today, or I was just watching today, that there were 4,000 police that were going to resign on January 1st. I don't think he cares. The fire commissioner resigned today. I don't think he cares. He will say anything he wants about Muslims and Jews, even though the Muslims have a long history of, fighting against the Jewish state. But he's lying, and I don't think he really cares because the ultimate goal is to make Manhattan, a Muslim territory, and I believe that's what's going to happen next.
I agree with that. Seth, have you been watching how the Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn and actually throughout all the boroughs were really rallying hard against this guy? They were out there trying really hard to beat him. What do you think must be the feeling in those communities today?
I'd say probably afraid. I think they're scared. I mean, the guy hasn't made any bones about how he feels about Jews. He's not hiding it. He can flower up the. I mean, like Damon was saying, he's never condemned, the global intifada. He's never once said Israel has a right to exist. When he's asked about it, he changes the subject. Right. He didn't condemn October 7th, the murder and rape of women in Israel. He changed the subject. He's a piece of shit, and he's a dangerous, dangerous man. People are going to die in New York because of him. Because like they were saying, all the Muslims are going to migrate there because now they got a Muslim leader. Look at England, look at France, look at Sweden, look at all the countries where they've gone to. They've turned them into war zones. Paris, France, used to be with the City of Lights, is a trash heap now. It's disgusting. It looks like a dump. England looks like a dump. In Norway, I think Sweden, like I was saying last time, there are groups of Muslim men who walk around the cities and force Sharia law and beat women who don't dress according to the law, and nobody stops them. That's going to happen in New York. And I don't care what anybody says. Well, he's not, he's an American now. He's not like, he's a Muslim. He's a Muslim. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It's not about working with people. It's about dominating people in that religion. It's about submission.
Sadly, that's true. And they don't hide it. They're very public about that. Justin, my next question is for you, but yes, you get a new clip to react to. So in part of his speech, our boy Zoran went after Donald Trump, which I think that, sorry, I'm giggling saying that because he is nothing but a boy compared to Donald Trump. So let's show this clip.
Agreed.
After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one. So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
All right, Justin. So these conditions that allowed Donald Trump to accumulate power that he's going to dismantle, I assume he's talking about capitalism. I mean, what do you think?
No, you're seeing as an extension of what New Jersey and how Mikey Sherrill ran our campaign. Democrats last night in Virginia, New York City, and New Jersey ran on one message and one message only. We hate Donald Trump. We have Trump derangement syndrome. That was their campaign message. They did not need a program, did not need a platform. They did not need to campaign in a positive way and promote a vision that unifies the country or a city. They're telling you, I mean, I would take this guy at his word. These are very dangerous words he's using. Dismantle the system that gave us Trump. Well, 77 million Americans voted for him. What exactly are you going to dismantle? The Constitution? You're going to dismantle freedom of the privacy of a secret ballot and the sacred right to vote? I mean, what is it you're going to dismantle? Now, no one will ask him these questions. His supporters are too myopic and blind with TDS. They could care less. They don't even know what they're cheering at. The print media will never hold his feet to the fire for anything. Damon, I think your point is right. New York is going to have to go through a very bad time before they wake up and realize, look, this guy was a mistake. Look what New York had to do. They had to go through the crime and the filth of 1970s and the 1980s, 2 decades before they said, oh, it's 1993. Maybe we should elect Rudy Giuliani. Maybe the Republicans aren't that bad. And when they put him in, he cleaned up. The city was great. Yeah. They liked it. They reelected him. They kept Bloomberg. So there can be a good tomorrow, but there'll be some bumpy some bumpy roads to go down here. This guy, when I look at Mamdani, it's one word comes to mind for me, and that is deception. Deception. He has, he's got. You'll notice that far left-wing candidates in this country, Obama, AOC, the Squad, Mamdani, they always seem to have an endless flow of cash for their campaigns and for their message. Gee, wonder where that comes from. And we know where it comes from. It comes from Soros, Tides. It comes from his network of really dark, dirty money. Trump administration is onto it. I think they're cracking down on this a little bit. Act Blue and all these groups that funnel millions of dollars into these campaigns for these people. And this is nationwide. He's dangerous. It's very sad. One thing I do want to ask, if anyone knows, what was the turnout in New York City? Because it was pretty miserable in New Jersey. Jersey, we only had a 49% turnout. Most people who were registered sat home and did not vote. They outnumbered the people who actually voted. What was the number in New York City?
I believe it was 1 million.
What percentage of that is? What's the percentage of that in New York? Is it
registered number of registered Republicans or
both sides, everything?
There was 1 million Democrats. I could be off. I'm not Jersey sure about that, but I heard it on the radio this morning when I was driving to work.
Yeah, he got 1 million votes. He got about
1 million. So there was 1 million Democrats. Okay.
But what was the turnout percentage of New York City?
We don't have it right now.
No, we don't have it, because I mean that could be some saving grace. If 80% of the people turned out to vote for this guy, okay, that's a big problem. If, like in New Jersey, you get a 40 to 45%, 50% turnout, you still have a very large number of people who sat home and did not vote. And guys like this get elected more than anything by apathy.
They said it they were talking about I was listening to Fox. They said it was a low
turnout.
Turnout, but he won by a lot. It was a low turnout.
Oh, he did, but yeah, see, that's
2 million people voted yesterday in New York. 2 million New Yorkers cast ballots in the contest, the largest turnout in a mayoral race in more than 50 years.
But what percentage of that is your?
I'm looking.
But, I mean, like I say, we can look back and say, yeah, it was a high turnout, but there's still a large number of voter block that was apathetic, and guys like this get elected more from apathy more than anything. It's apathy that allows these people to find their way to public office, and the turnout rates are dangerously low in this country, and the apathy is way too high.
Yeah, I would guess, if I had to guess, this was a really high profile race. I would guess that this wasn't an apathy win, but we'll find out. What Seth is looking into it for us. In the meantime, while we're waiting on the answer, I want to talk to you, Damon. Donald Trump is in construction, and you're in construction, as was Donald Trump. He contributed a tremendous amount to that city, to making it into the city that he is today. And there seems to be zero gratitude for what he gave to that city, the jobs, the beauty, all the things he gave back at just generosity. What do you think about how he's being treated in his hometown by this mayor-elect?
I would say, number one, he does have he has a lot of stones to go after Donald Trump. He really does. What's he 35 years old, and going after Donald Trump, and like you said earlier. But yeah, he's treating there's no way he's going to beat Trump. I'll just say that right now. I know Trump is older and everything else, but
he can just get in line. Everyone has tried to bring down Trump. It's just not.
But they do win on it, though. I mean, that's why we lost in New Jersey. That's why we lost in Virginia. That's why we lost in New York. They had no policies, really, no real policies. It was just the orange madman, and that's what voters came out for. Is the orange madman. That was it, and that's the whole thing they ran on. But I think Trump is a mud monster. I said it before. So you can throw mud at him, and it's just going to stick. And he's going to keep on coming, and it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, full of mud, and keep coming at you. So I think Mamdani bit off more than he can chew.
I think so. Let's see one more Mamdani clip, and I'll stop torturing you guys with it. One more.
We got 4 years of this creep.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants. And as of tonight, led by an immigrant. President Trump when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
I got to say this one thing that I want to say. I am a builder like Trump, and I like to build things. That guy is going to tear shit down. Have at it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I was going to ask you anyway about his comments on immigrants. His focus doesn't seem to be on Americans. Is there?
These are words of war here. This sounds like war. That's what he's declaring here. Against Trump, against MAGA, against all the voters who voted against this. These are, this is the seeds of the Confederacy here. And that's how I view New Jersey. When New Jersey went blue, my comment on X was New Jersey has joined the Confederacy. And I think that's what's forming here with Jersey, California. They are seceding, not by a Mason-Dixon line, but politically. And frankly, the Democratic victory in Jersey was so overwhelming, and the Republicans in the assembly have been diminished so much. The Democrats can pass any law they want. They may be in power for the next 20 years.
God, let's hope not. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, no, Jack, you're right. This is, again, I mean, we talked earlier about the turnout. Turnout in New Jersey last night was 49%. Most people who could vote sat home and did not participate. I mean, the level of apathy is staggering. This is how these left-wing people get elected.
Yeah.
Apathy. It's how they get elected. Now, I always try to be an optimist. I think New York will eventually get very sick of this guy. Okay. It's not because campaigning is much different than governing. And when he fails to make people's lives better, they'll take it out on him. Eventually they will get tired of him. Now, some will stay with him to the end, probably the Muslim community, of course. But I think when he destroys the city, when he, pushes people out, you see dilapidation and brownfields and less economic vibrancy and filth, no doubt. Crime waves. I mean, people will get sick of it eventually. It takes a while, but they will.
Yeah, the numbers I saw were bouncing between 27 and 31% total vote
Turnout.
Yeah.
Look, there you go.
You got to register like 24 or 27 to 32%.
That's insane.
This is how guys like this get elected. This is how the squad gets elected. This is how AOC gets elected. This is how these creeps get elected. Apathy. They want you silenced, on the sideline, demoralized, and discouraged. They don't want you to participate.
The good news about that, right, is when he said in that clip, he said, Donald Trump, you're going to have to get through all of us. There's really not that many of you. When you now look at the numbers of people, that's total voters, right? Mm-hmm. Say it was 35% total voters came out. Only half of them voted for Mamdani, or a little over half.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Not that many that Donald Trump's going to have to plow through to get to the city. Anyway, Seth, let me jump to you. You've been quiet here. Do you think that
it's rare?
He's got the power to stop the federal government?
No. Federal government trumps everything. You can talk all day long. Like, I'm going to have ICE arrested if they come into my city. You can't do that. The only thing that can supersede federal law is if state law is more harsh than the federal law. It can't be less lax, in which case the federal law supersedes it. If the state law is more harsh, then that can supersede the federal law. That's the only thing. State employees don't have any authority to arrest federal law enforcement unless they're breaking the law. And if they're following the law and doing what they've been asked to do, you can't arrest them. I mean, let me correct it. You can physically arrest them, but nothing's going to happen. You're going to have to turn around and release them 10 minutes later, or they will be arrested for interfering with the federal law enforcement's, legal duties. You can't do that. But he's talking to people who have the IQ of a flip-flop. They hear him say that and they're impressed. Like, oh, he's going to stand up to Trump. He's going to fight him. Look, he's going to arrest ICE agents. He can't. It's like a citizen's arrest isn't really an arrest. I can't go out there and start locking people up because they're breaking the law. I don't have the authority to do that. State really doesn't have the federal agent.
States' rights versus the federal government, sort of a
Yeah.
throwback.
Yeah.
And like I
Exactly.
said, if they were trying to enforce it more strictly, then yes, he could do that. But he's not. He's trying to be less strict. He can't do that.
Yeah. He can't. Right. And he was talking about immigration law. He was talking about ICE there, clearly.
And that's a federal issue, not a state issue. So he has no say in it anyway.
And
But
there's
his
more-
constituents clearly don't know that, because
They're
did you
idiots.
see them clapping like seals? I mean, they were screaming.
Well, it's the same thing with when Biden got elected. No one voted for Biden. They voted against Trump.
Yeah.
You could have put a soup can up there. They'd have voted for the soup can because it wasn't about anything other than trying to stick it to Trump. And that's what this was. They stuck it to Trump at their own peril. They're going to pay for this. But that's what we saw last night. People voted against Trump. That was it. They didn't vote for this idiot. He may think that, but they didn't.
Spite. Well, they did. They actually did. I mean, this is a different situation. They're actually loving him. I mean, I see, you have to, I'm from New York. I mean, I do have a lot of friends in Brooklyn who are, I wouldn't call them friends anymore, former friends, people I used to hang out with, I'd say, who are like running around in Zohar Mamdani shorts. Like, they really are for him. They think he's some kind of a savior.
Another Obama.
Yeah.
The FDA, yes, Obama-ish.
I mean, he is charismatic, even more so.
The fire, you mentioned it earlier, Jack. The FDNY commissioner, Robert Tucker, resigned today, and they are saying that it is because he is Jewish, and he does not. Then, an inside source told the Daily News that he doesn't think that he's going to be able to, chill with Mamdani's administration. And apparently they didn't have any talks before this either. And so, it kind of creates a little bit of a concern. This is a public safety issue. Eric Adams now is not going to be appointing a new person. And this is going to be somebody that's going to be appointed by Mamdani when he gets in on January 1st to run the FDNY. That's a scary thing to me. Damon, what do you think?
It's a very scary thing. It really is. No, I'm sorry, you were breaking up a little bit. I didn't hear your entire question, but Madani being in it is a very scary thing, and I'm just worried about the way things are going to go from here. I said it before. People might not. If you want to repeat your question because it broke up a little bit, I apologize, to everybody. I'm on my phone.
That's okay. It was way too long. So, Seth, you want to answer the question? What do you think about the Jewish fire commissioner walking out because of Mamdani?
I personally, if that were me, I wouldn't have resigned. I'd have made him fire me. I'd have stayed, and I'd have been boisterous. Hey, I'm not leaving. I'm Jewish. I don't care for the mayor, but I got a job to do. I don't work for him. I work for the people of New York. If he wants to get rid of me, he's going to have to do it himself. I'm staying until I'm told to leave. I'd have done it just to be a thorn in his side, just to be a bigger asshole than he was being.
Yeah, I mean, these are all people close to retirement, probably.
There's that. I don't know how close he was. Maybe it's like, hey, what the hell? I got 2 months left. Why not just go? Screw it.
Yeah, I think there's another dynamic here. I really do think there's going to, I may be wrong, I think there's going to be a mass migration of Muslims into New York to establish it as a Muslim territory. The people in the audience, they are the Trump haters, but they are also the people that view view their lives as hopeless in New York. They don't make enough money. They don't have enough money to buy food. They can never buy a house. They can barely get a 1-bedroom apartment, and they see no future. And I think he appeals to the down and out. And these might be legitimate, working folks that just can't afford it and see no future in New York. All this talk sounds very appealing to them. Yeah. And I think what they're going to do is move this from New York, next stop, Baltimore. They're going to have Mamdani Jr., right, down in Baltimore, talking to the same down and out, stratum of the society that have been working for years and have never been able to get ahead. And they're going to go in there and start,
Yeah, I don't think it takes a crystal ball to see that, because we've already seen it happening all over the country. Yeah. New York is not the start. New York, I mean, over the last 20 years, New York was the culmination. And now once they've conquered New York, they've got a very easy time conquering elsewhere.
All of the Democrat cities are going to be,
to start. to
Yeah.
start. But understand the Democrat, there are big Democrat strongholds in red states. You know,
And-
we've got Nashville, we've got Austin. Look at Des Moines. I mean, you know, in my intro, I was talking about cities like Dearborn. I mean, completely taken over. Things that, you know, this is strategic and it's on purpose. So yeah, I mean, it's not, we're not guessing that this is going to happen. It's happening.
This is going to be a problem.
But the culture that this creates, one problem that is sad is, you know, watching the rainbow community get behind Zoran Mamdani. You know, this is your chickens for KFC moment that we have here. And Bill Maher, you know, had said, you know, said something, you know, brought up this one really sticky point, and it's just astonishing to me that they can't get behind it, that they can't see this. Let's bring up the Maher clip.
The issue now that Andrew Cuomo is bringing up in New York is that he is a Ugandan citizen. Uganda is a country where they kill homosexuals.
So is somebody who is a dual citizen can't be mayor of New York, or?
I would renounce, if I was the dual citizen with a country whose policy, government policy, was we kill homosexuals, yeah, I would renounce that citizenship.
So, Justin, what do you think? How do you think the LGBTQIA two-spirit unicorn folks are seeing their future?
You forgot Purple Waffle.
Well, first of all, they're afflicted collectively with myopia. If they can't see through this guy, the honeymoon will be over soon. When he has to make a choice between his Islamic faith and supporting this community that is clearly at odds with Islamic teaching, he's going to have to make a choice. And he's going to have himself in a very difficult political position. You know, when you look at the more like fringe and radical elements of the LGBTQ community, you know, the fact that they can't see this guy for what he is, and that they don't understand, like, you know, they're out there carrying the Palestinian flag. Do you know what Hamas does to you people? I mean, do you know what Hamas would do to you?
Obviously.
And you know what Iran does to homosexuals? They either kill them literally, or they throw them in jail. And so it's a matter of an awakening. And somewhere, and again, I'm always an optimist, it's going to dawn on someone that, whoops, we made a mistake. And when Mamdani has himself in a position where he has to choose between an Islamic or Islamist thought or teaching or his belief and that community, you know where he's going to land. He's not going to go with that community. Then they'll begin to see. Then they will begin to see that they made a mistake endorsing him and being behind him and supporting him. It will run a cycle.
This reminds me of, there were Jews in Nazi Germany who were hired by the Nazis, and they worked for the Nazis, helping to group up, you know, other Jews and making promises, and, you know, I just keep going, just keep going. Like, and then once all the Jews were taken care of, the Nazis took those Jews and put them on the train too. And that's what this reminds me of. People who are fooled into thinking that they're going to be the ones that benefit.
Call them useful idiots, Karl Marx did. Useful idiots.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get rid of this cancer once it spreads, though. That's the.
Well, I mean,
I know how to get rid of it, but I'll get kicked off Facebook.
We're just not going to talk about that.
You need the political will to do it. And big test for England is coming up if they can muster the political will to deal with this. You know, America, I mean, yes, is this a problem? It certainly is. If we could control our immigration and we conservatives and mainstream Americans win the culture war, you know, we can handle this. We can keep a lid on it. I mean, unless, you know, we really have to start look at deportation too. I mean, if someone came to this country illegally, I don't care where you're from, out. You cannot break our nation's immigration laws. And as far as assimilation, you know, as a culture, we have to start demanding that when immigrants do come here, they assimilate and make it a condition. If you find that you cannot assimilate to our culture, which all other immigrant groups have done, we're not asking you to do anything that no one's done before. You need to come to this country legally. And then when you're here, you need to assimilate. And if you cannot do those two things, you're out. You're deported back to wherever it is you came from. If you cannot assimilate, You're not adding, you have to come here. We need immigration policy to benefit our country. And when you come here and want hyphenated Americans and compartmentalization and these little carved cutouts, no-go zones, no. You either assimilate or you're going back to where you came from. That's the political will.
I have a question for you guys, though. Do you think that's past the point of no return with the open borders that we had for all those years?
No, we can get it fixed.
No.
Okay, well, I'm just seeing how everything's going. The open borders, and we have a lot of people here that will not assimilate. You look what's happening in the UK. Look what's happening overseas. It's the same thing. And this goes with the Muslims. And listen, again, I'm not against Muslims at all. I'm against radical Muslims, and I'm against radical anybody. But it's just that a lot of them were trained to go and take over different countries, and they're doing it here too. But not just that. We have Trinidad and Tobago here. We have, all kinds of people that are coming to this country to divide this country. Then again, I'll bring it back to January 10th, 1963. The congressional manifesto that they put out there to divide this country from within, and everything is happening right now. So, and listeners out there, go and look at it. I brought it up many times before, but I was shocked by it when I read it a couple of years ago. I was like, wow, man, this is happening right here, because it's so hard to conquer the United States. We're surrounded by vast oceans, and we're a powerful country. How do you do it? From within.
Culture war. You need the culture war is important. And look, I think we've seen the Democrat Party hemorrhage millions of voters nationally. Obviously, that we didn't see that last night, but this culture war is so important. It's been going on since 1965, and I think more Americans are aware of it now with the parental rights issue, which are the civil rights issues of our time: parental rights, public education. We had a little setback last night, but you can't be surprised when New Jersey and Virginia, you cannot be surprised when they elect Democrat governors, because they do that quite often. The degree of the Marxism that's permeating that crowd right now is really, I think, waking a lot of people up. Now, we still have a lot of work to do. Yes. We're not getting the right turnouts. We have to manifest this through political victory, and it's going to take time and vigilance. And so, but we're up for that. But this is to answer Damon's question, we can deal with this. We can solve anything, but it's going to take some will, some real stern political will.
Well, I think we have that from the White House, and we'll see if the Republican people, the regular average citizens, can muster more than going to vote for presidential elections, because that's what we're missing, and we need more. We need involvement beyond that. But we got to wrap up this segment in a second. But one more thing I want to get to. A little tongue-in-cheek pre-response to this. Governor Greg Abbott, the night before the election, tweeted this: "After the polls close tomorrow night, I will impose a 100% tariff on anyone moving to Texas from New York City."
Stay there. We don't want you messing up Texas.
Yeah, a little bit of levity from Greg Abbott there.
I would say last night the big winners are Florida and Texas.
Oh yeah.
Yes. We're gonna do very well with new businesses. Wall Street South is exploding, and it's going to be a good place to come and get a nice fat job. All right, we will. What next? We're going to talk about New Jersey, which I know is where everyone's heart is tonight. So right after the break, we'll be right back.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up, because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
All right, welcome back.
I'm back.
Oh, Damon, welcome back.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, but sorry again on my phone. I don't know if my laptop. Something happened with the charger last night. We
It's
podcasted
all
for
right.
4.5 hours. But
So before we get into New Jersey, I just kind of want to reset the tone a little bit. I personally talked to people today who were just depressed and out of their minds over the election results from last night, and no judgment, but we got to take this into in perspective. We were talking about blue states. We shouldn't be that surprised with these results that we got. And JD Vance put up a tweet that I think is a little bit thought provoking. I'm going to read it, and we'll get your response, guys. He said, I think it's idiotic to overreact to a couple of elections in blue states, but a few thoughts. One, Scott Pressler, Turning Point USA, and a bunch of others have been working hard to register voters. I said it in 2022, and I've said it repeatedly since. Our coalition is lower propensity, and that means we have to do better at turning out voters than we have in the past. Justin's been saying this tonight. Two, we need to focus on the home front. The president has done a lot that has already paid off in lower interest rates and lower inflation, but we inherited a disaster from Joe Biden, and Rome wasn't built in a day. We're going to keep working to make a decent life affordable in this country, and that's the metric by which we'll ultimately be judged in 2026 and beyond. And three, the infighting is stupid. You can hear him saying this, right? I care about my fellow citizens, particularly young Americans, being able to afford a decent life. I care about immigration and our sovereignty. And I care about establishing peace overseas so our resources can be focused at home. If you care about those things too, let's work together. So, Damon, how does that make you feel? Because you had sent me a message that you were kind of twisted about what happened yesterday. Does this help at all?
well, I'm twisted about New Jersey, number one, and when you talk about national, look at Trump. Trump won. New Jersey's not a swing state. All right. So Trump won the popular vote. He won the electoral vote. So the country, I think, is kind of is okay because there's other people out there. New Jersey, on the other hand, has some issues. Has some serious issues. I'll tell you that right now. And I don't know. I don't know about New Jersey. I mean, we thought we had a good run coming here in New Jersey, but the hard work they put in. I just think there was a little bit of play with the ballots there. I mean, we had I spoke about it before in Gloucester County where I live. They changed the ballots illegally, and they took them to court, and the judge ruled that they were going to pay back the money they spent on the campaign, saying vote this column, and that was it. So then they took it to an appellate court and said, "Oh, wait a minute, what about the polling stations? We need the ballots back to where they're supposed to be, legally supposed to be." Because they broke up the ballots. And then the judge, he ruled that, yes, it has to go back to that. But it was a drop in the bucket for the Democrats to spend $26,000 to cheat on mail-in ballots. So they got away with that. You had in Jag and Pete's election, you had Pamela Lampett. She oversaw the election in Camden County. She was a longtime running mate of Lou Greenwald. And in the law states that she should have recused herself, but she, because of the appearance of impropriety, and she refused to. And then you have, the voting machines going down, bomb threats across the board in all North Jersey, shutting down polls. So New Jersey's in trouble. I'm not saying the nation is. So when you look at Trump, when he won every swing state, that's still a good sign. I'm not giving up. I'm upset. I just want. That's why I put the laughing emoji in there. My sadness and my loss in human faith. So that's where I was with that.
Yeah. So Jack, Damon sent me some numbers last night, today about last night. Here's the thing: for about the last 50 years, little over 2 million voters have voted in Jersey gubernatorial elections. and the winner would get between 1.1 and 1.4 million votes. But now, all of a sudden, over 3 million voters yesterday in New
That's
Jersey.
right.
And Mikey Sherrill got 1.7 million votes. That's 600,000 more votes than the last election. And there happen to be a million illegals there.
Right.
Of all that.
So New Jersey is very corrupt.
You didn't answer that.
And look, there's anywhere between 500,000 and 1 million illegal aliens that poured into the state. And there is no way to tell whether they're on the voter rolls or not. And most likely they are. Personally, I think that is the biggest factor. All these other factors contribute, the bomb scares and what we'll call shenanigans on election day. That will account for a certain number, but it's not going to put Mickey over the top. What's going to put it over the top is what we're seeing in these numbers. You've got illegal aliens in here that are on the voter rolls. When you go in, the signs at the polling stations say no ID required. Those signs are there for a reason, as a welcome mat for the illegals. We need to clean up that. Something's got to be done about these rolls, because we will never win another election. They imported these illegal aliens across the border for a reason, to become voters for Democrats. I think we're seeing their success now is in action. And I think maybe New Jersey may be the first exhibit A.
Yeah.
Because there's 500,000, 750,000 people that all of a sudden showed up out of nowhere when people are leaving New Jersey. So, yeah.
It's pretty in a time when there is the apathy that Justin was talking about. Justin, you're looking to become senator, out of New Jersey in 2026. How looking at what happened here last night, how does that make you feel about your race? And, how does that make you, does it make you approach things differently? You may not have that answer just yet.
Well, no, I mean, I firmly believe that the primary we had for governor and then this general election we had last night would greatly and directly influence the primary season for 2026 as to who's going to run House races and the U.S. Senate primary that I plan to. I mean, Jack, I think there's a lot of truth what you're saying. I think what we need to do is take those paper ballots that were early vote by mail Democrat ballots, audit them, and check them against voter rolls and see how we're doing there. I bet you there's quite a mess there. The other thing is, we look at last night too. We look at numbers. I crunched numbers pretty hard. We had a 49% turnout last night. That means most people decided to sit home again. It's apathy and not vote. We've got 6.5 million registered voters in the state, 2.5 million undeclared unaffiliated, 2.4 million Democrat, 1.6 million Republican. Now we're trailing, but that 1.6 million is the most registered Republicans in the history of our state. That's good news. But still has to manifest itself into getting people out to vote into these voting booths. What do you do with New Jersey electorate? It's so hard to say, because I traveled the state here in the past year. I've been to Camden County, Mercer, Gloucester, Morris, Salem, Middlesex, Burlington, and I never saw a ground game that was as enthusiastic and full of energy in this past year. I mean, it was great watching. I commend Jack and his running mate and everybody who did the difficult work of stepping into the arena and running for public office. And I haven't seen the grassroots in the Republican Party this busy and this active and passionate. The last time I saw that was 1994 with the Contract with America. Now, unfortunately, we're doing the heavy lifting, and I don't think the top of our party, the leadership up top, is really in sync with what the grassroots is doing now, as far as energized and having the passion to drive through these elections. We have a lot of work to do. Obviously, we have a lot to do. One is turnout. The voters are out there. Donald Trump pulled 1.9 million votes in November of 24. That is the most votes a Republican presidential candidate has ever taken out of New Jersey in the history of America.
Where were they last night?
600,000 of them decided I'm sitting home.
And 600,000 new ones decided to come out.
Yeah. I mean, this is what, you're looking at. And, it's funny. It's funny, Elena, because in 2021, the same exact thing happened. Donald Trump ran in 2020. Biden, of course, won the state. Then the following year, we have a governor's race. And that's part of the problem, too. There's a lot of voter fatigue in this state. We're always in an election season and cycle, and it's very fatiguing for people. Fatigue. So 2021,
I'm not buying that. Give me a break. It's not that hard.
Well, I agree. But 600,000, Jack Ciatarelli lost 600,000 Trump voters from 20 to 21. Same thing happened. He lost 600,000 voters again in 24, from the presidential race in 24 to last night's election. So there's this huge drop off, and no one's cracked the code as to how we can keep people that engaged. And yeah, you're right. It's easy to vote, Elena, but it's difficult to get people to run, put the time in to be an activist, and it's a little fatiguing. It can wear on people.
The Democrats don't mind getting involved, and I find that Republicans really
We
don't want to interrupt our lives to get involved. Part of the problem, cracking the code. I really like Jack Ciatarelli, but enough. All right, the third time was not the charm. Please, you guys need new blood. I'm sorry.
He's an establishment guy.
I have one thing to say. There is someone to crack the code. That was me with the Red Atlantic Fest, but that Ciatarelli didn't listen about that. But anyway, I wanted to ask Jack Rankin, if I'm mistaken, voter integrity, they didn't, just in Camden County alone, didn't they expose it was some close to 20,000 voters that either moved out of the state or died, and nobody challenged it?
I think Arlene is a friend. They told me they tried to challenge it, but nobody responded. Nobody didn't go anywhere. Let's put it that way.
Were they challenging specific ballots?
I don't know.
There were mail-in ballots, and they didn't know if they were Republican or Democrat. They don't know, but they knew that the person either moved out of the state, was dead, or other, and they shouldn't be able to cast their ballot. So if you moved out of state, you shouldn't be able to cast your ballot. If you were dead, obviously, you shouldn't be able to cast your ballot. That's why I wear my T-shirt when I die. Don't let me vote Democrat. So
voter registry, voter election integrity really starts with clean voter rolls, and I don't think we have them here in this state. And it's federal law. I mean, we needed the federal Department of Justice that we have now, Pam Bondi. There is federal law, a law that was passed in 1994 when there was a majority of Democrat in the U.S. Senate, a majority of Democrats in the U.S. House, and Bill Clinton was in the White House who signed the law. Motor voter, 1994. States are required under federal statute to ensure and make a reasonable effort that their voter rolls are clean. Not enough enforcement of that.
So, hey, real quick, guys, I'm going to jump off for a moment again because, again, I'm on my phone and I can hear it cracking up because the phone's heating up, my damn laptop. So I'm going to jump off so I don't interrupt the show. I'll be back in a moment.
Okay.
So, Seth, before we move on to talking about Virginia's election, do you have any final thoughts on New Jersey?
I was there with Damon and everybody else who was there.
And Jack.
And Pete. And
right.
I mean, the two ladies who were running, everybody I've seen before were there. And then there was I don't know, it was like a party or a get together or whatever they want to call it. We were that. And the turnout, I was kind of like, mediocre. Like you said, Republicans just don't want to be involved. It's like an inconvenience. Like, hey, I know I should vote for him, but it's Tuesday night. I got to work in the morning.
It's raining.
My neighbor's going to take care of it. He's got a family of 3. They're all going to vote. So I really don't need to go out. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Republicans are lazy. We're just depend on everybody else to do what we should do because, like I said, they're saying there's going to be a red wave. I don't need to get involved. They're going to be fine. I can stay home tonight because everybody else will vote. So my vote's not going to matter. And that's what it boils down to. I think Republicans need to start worrying about them. Like, what do I need to do? Don't worry about what you're hearing or what everybody else is saying. What do I need to do to help? And then do it. And if that's all you can do is vote, then just vote. You don't have to go to parties. You don't have to donate. You don't have to give your time. You don't have to door knock. At the very least, just vote. Take 20 minutes out of your day. It depends on the line. Take time out of your day, vote, and that's it. That's
Yeah.
the bare minimum that you have to do. That's
And
it.
they make it very easy with mail-in ballots, with early voting. I mean, there's no excuses.
Right.
Anymore. No excuses at all.
You know, in our district, our opponents, Lou Greenwald and Melinda Kane, never articulated a position on anything. They never campaigned. If they had a rally, there might have been one or two rallies, a meet and greet. Nobody showed up. So they did nothing. And while we're busting our asses, you know, for right up to the very last moment, and we still got doubled. We got lapped on the, we ended up with 25,000. They ended up with 50,000 votes. And they did zero.
Yeah.
And they didn't even run ads or anything.
Because they know their party comes out. Their party comes out swinging. All right, let's move on to Virginia.
Okay.
All right, so Abigail Spanberger pounced Winsome Sears in the Virginia governor's race. She took in 57% of the vote. Doesn't matter that she's okay with, you know, boys and men in women's space and girls' spaces. She wouldn't denounce the attorney general candidate, Jay Jones, when he wished death on his political opponent and his children and his wife. And he won his race last night too, by the way. Spanberger, she puts illegals over citizens, and all those things that we find appalling are what Democrats actually love about her. I'll start with you, Seth. What do you think about your neighbors?
They suck. But more to the point, I think we talked about Winston Sear before, a couple of Wednesdays ago. And someone was talking about how during the debate she kept interrupting. I was like, it's like a little kid going, Mom, 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 Mom. And I said then she was going to lose. She's not a strong person. She wasn't a viable candidate. And I said then, and I'll say it now, the Republican Party needs to start cherry picking candidates that can win. Not just because of, hey, I'm a Republican. Oh, great, cool, let's put you up for governor. You're a Republican, that's all we need. We need to start picking the strongest candidates we can find, regardless of what boxes they check or what they look like. Whoever's the strongest is who gets back. And that should be the end of it. And just because you were lieutenant governor doesn't mean automatically, okay, now we're going to back you for governor. Bullshit.
Yeah.
No. You sucked at lieutenant governor. Why do we want to put you up for governor? No, thanks for coming out. We appreciate it. Goodbye. We found somebody else that's stronger. Democrats don't play around. They find one candidate and that's it. Boom. That's what they put their money on. We got like 95,000 candidates and we're trying to help all of them. And the ones we should help, we don't. I mean, look at Maryland. We had Dan Cox running against Wes Moore. He didn't kiss the Republican Party's ring in Maryland. And the Republican Party openly campaigned for the Democratic governor. Openly campaigned, gave him money. And not a Republican batted an eye. It's got to stop. We need to start putting up the strongest people and then fight tooth and nail to get them in there and keep them in there. She got what she deserved. She sucked. She was weak. I'm sorry. She was a Marine. That's great. I never Marine in her ever. Never once did I see Marine in her.
I think, I see what you're saying. And I think with the Republicans, I think in some part, our ranks are as ignorant of the process as the Democrats are, because a lot of Republicans I talk to, no, not you guys, you're all like super informed and involved, just think that Donald Trump is just going to fix everything.
Yep.
That's it. And we're all going to be okay because he's got it. Him and his cabinet, they just don't understand that it takes a lot more than that for this country to run. And Democrats, even though they don't actually understand the Constitution and they have different moral code, if any, than we do, they do understand that, how to push the wheel. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
In Virginia, did the black vote go with the Democratic Party, the white Democrat, or did the black vote go with the black conservative? I'd be interested to know where they voted, whether their allegiance is to Black Lives Matter or is their allegiance really to the Democratic Party?
I would imagine that I don't have the numbers. I mean, Seth, is that what you're doing?
I'll look. Yeah, I'll see if I can find it.
I'm just curious.
Pulling it up, but I would imagine people, vote again with their priorities. If I want free stuff, I'm going to vote for the lady that's going to give me free stuff. If I want freedom, I'm going to vote for the lady that's going to give me freedom.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's ultimately the
Yeah. I didn't know Winsome Sears was a anti-Trumper, and
that didn't help her at all.
no, I just found that out. I was curious why Trump never, endorsed her, but now I understand.
Yeah, that's why she got trounced on. She was a weak candidate. I like her. I think she's a lady, but she wasn't the right candidate for the job. To fight against a Democrat in a blue state. She wasn't the right one. I did watch Spanberger's victory speech also. You're all welcome, by the way. I watched these speeches in their entirety. And
So we don't have to.
Yeah. And I
Punish yourself.
have an ulcer. Yeah, I did. I did. I watched Mikey Sherrill, and which I couldn't find a single interesting thing to pull out of that. Oh, it was so dull. And then Mamdani you saw, and Spanberger, also not very interesting. She did one of those jams where she said something flowery and then paused and waited for applause, and they all went crazy. And then she said one more. She didn't say 2 sentences in a row. She literally paused for her applause because her ego had to take it. It was horrible. There was one clip that I found interesting in this entire speech, and I'm going to play it. So this woman in the audience fainted. And what happened? So you're gonna see the clip right after, she stopped, they woke her up, they took her out, and Abigail comes back to the podium looking very concerned, like, oh, thank God, that's okay. And you're going to hear the producer and the cameraman. That's what's interesting about this clip, the background hot mic convo. Let's pop it up.
You got me? She just fainted. I mean, yeah, a woman just fainted, and she's being taken off. So, well, no, I have no idea. It's a supporter.
We are going to make sure
it's just a supporter
that our teachers.
So did you catch that? She says it's just a supporter, she said, don't worry, it's just a supporter. It's not anybody important. Jack, you just finished your race last night. Is that how you talk about your supporters?
No, not at all. I mean, I really felt an obligation. I sent out a thank you to all the supporters today, all the voters, contributors, everyone. I felt an obligation to do that because we did get 25,000 votes, and
commendable.
It is
that I appreciate every single vote. And I really appreciate the people on the campaign. We really developed a campaign team as we went along. And some of these people are real go-getters. I'm very hopeful about, the Camden County GOP going forward, because these people are go-getters. They are younger, and in my terms, they are younger, they're smarter, they're well-connected across the state. I think we have I'm very hopeful about the future. But
that's good.
Yeah, I thank everyone.
You're sincere, and I can see that you are grateful for the votes you got, and
absolutely.
What I see here though is Spanberger's up there, thanking everybody for their support, and her husband and the kids, and her parents. It was just so boring. And then, but really, what we see is that the mask came off there. That her people are what they really think of the supporters. It's just a supporter.
More than anything, Democrats are frauds.
Yeah, very fraud.
That's their greatest characteristic. They are frauds in every aspect of the term.
Yeah, that's the Hillary Clinton in her. This condescending liberal elitist it's just that's the condescending, leftist Hillary Clinton in her. Yeah. That's exactly what that was.
Somebody get a broom and a dustpan and get her out of the way, right?
Well, I think Spanberger's got a broomstick at the ready.
He's got a broomstick. She'll be on it.
And that attorney general getting elected. That's
the worst. That reflects the poorest on the people of Virginia. And if you look at Virginia, there's the reason that's a Democrat state. There are 2 counties, Fairfax and Loudoun. Everything else is red practically. But for those people to elect or allow him to your top cop, your attorney general, That's sickening, and it's poor. It really reflects poorly on the entire state. People like that should not hold elected office, period.
Well, Justin, that's why I asked the question earlier. Do you think we're past the point of no return? Who elects somebody like that?
Damon, it's, when you have turnouts like, Seth just said, the turnout in New York was around 20 to 30%, 25, 30%. New Jersey was 49%. I'm sure Virginia was probably just as low. When we have more people in the millions that are sitting home and not voting, what's killing us is apathy. That's what's getting these people elected, apathy.
I just don't get it, because I see a lot of people, and I was talking to Jack earlier about this, and I'm in the carpenter union, and I see all the rank and file men and women that used to be Democrats, like I used to be years ago. We were always told to vote Democrat. They were the party of the working class. But that's what they said. But then you realize they went batshit crazy. They went way too far left. But I see all the people that I work with, and it's like 9 out of 10 people that I work with or meet, and so when Jack about this earlier, they wanted change and they were ready for it.
Right.
And then, so why didn't they come out to vote? I mean, what happened? I mean, you say apathy, but it just that's why I really think that Trump called it in 2020. They cheated in 2020. They did, for sure. I mean, we know
2020.
that. Yeah. But now, it's like,
you're breaking up.
Damon, we can't hear you, hon. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off again.
Okay.
So
I think for me, what's worse than the apathy is the moral deterioration on the left.
Yeah.
They are okay with an attorney general that hates half their state.
Correct.
That like to the point where he, wishing them death. Like, yeah, we all got problems with each other, but wishing death on women and children and saying you're gonna pee on their graves and all that is a level of depravity that I couldn't get behind. I mean, if it was a Republican, and they don't mind that because they actually believe that we deserve that. They are the party of dehumanization, from the way they dehumanize children in the womb to the way they dehumanize teenagers and tell them they can change their bodies. They're now pushing assisted suicide at the end of life, or if you're just depressed, even if you're young, hey, you don't have to live. Like, they don't care about life. They don't value it. And it disturbs me, even as a citizen of the United States, to go through Virginia, and God forbid I got in legal trouble, to think that this guy could have some sort of effect on my life is scary. And I think that citizens of Virginia should be afraid.
Marxism, it's all Marxism. It's rooted in Marxism. They've taken over that party. The mask is off. And as far as the people of Virginia, I hope the Republican Party in Virginia never lets the people forget who this guy is, who he really is, what he said. His apology means nothing. I hope one of the things the Republican Party continually, consistently drops the ball on is we allow and let people to forget. We do, like, oh, well, no, that's behind us. That's past us. We got to look forward. This is where the political establishment consulting class with the Rhino establishment Republicans have been a miserable failure. They don't develop the appropriate narratives where we can connect with the voter, and they can in return identify with our candidates and platform. That's where we're failing. But I want the Republican Party of Virginia to never let these people ever forget what this guy said and who he is, and then broaden it and throw it into the broader narrative of, the shooting up of the baseball field, the murder of Charlie Kirk, and then the follow-up on social media to Charlie Kirk's murder, and how violent and vile the left has become. This is where we're letting them off the hook, and we should not do it.
Well, guys, I've got one more. I've got a really interesting lefty loon clip for you, and you're going to get it right after this break.
What break?
I don't know. I don't know. There's somebody back.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
All right. We're going to talk about Democrats and their moral compass. They're missing moral compass that I was trying to tell you about. So there's this lady. I'd call her a girl. She's a grown woman. She's named Haley McKnight, and she was running for a Montana commission in Lena City. So this unearthed voicemail came out that she had left for Senator Tim Sheehy. I believe. Yes, I believe this was after the big beautiful bill was passed. She's a gem. Let's listen to what Haley has to say.
This is bad. This is bad.
Hi, this is Haley McKnight. I'm a constituent in Helena, Montana, and I just wanted to let you know that you are the most insufferable kind of coward and thief. You just stripped away health care for 17 million Americans, and I hope you're really proud of that. I hope that one day you get pancreatic cancer and it spreads throughout your body so fast that they can't even treat you for it. I hope that you die in the street like a dog. One day you're going to live to regret this. I hope that your children never forgive you. I hope that you are infertile. I hope you never manage to be a boner ever again. You are the worst piece of shit I've ever had the misfortune of looking at. And you don't serve Montanans. You serve your own private interests. All that you have done since you've gotten into power is do shit for yourself. God forbid that you ever meet me on the streets, because I will make you regret it. Fuck you. I hope you die.
Seth, what's up? What's in your head?
Oh.
Bring back asylum.
This lady has a sign that says "Hate has no home" in front of her house.
Yes, definitely.
That's ridiculous. Was she arrested? Did they send the police to her house or anything like that?
God, I hope so.
She ran for office.
If I did that to a Democrat politician, the cops would be at my door before I hung the phone up.
Mm-hmm.
Republicans need to stop playing this turn the other cheek. Let's get along. Let's get by. Let's be friends. Shut the fuck up, man up, and start pushing back. This is what happens when you act like a doormat. People wipe their feet on you and move on. She did this to him. He did nothing, and now she's running for office and will probably win because he doesn't have the sack to stand up and go, you know what, you piece of shit? Let me see. I'm going to show you how big of an asshole I can be. I'm going to ruin your life now. I'm going to have charges pressed against you. I'm going to drag your name through the mud. I'm going to put it in the TV so everybody knows how psycho you are. And maybe you'll lose your job. And in 20 years, maybe people will forget enough and you can get a job as a door greeter at Walmart. But until then, I own your ass. And we need to start doing that. Stop playing nice.
Yeah, she needs to be sued. Criminal charges for domestic terrorism, for threats, and then she also needs to be sued civilly for harassment. And but this is, this is what the Republican Party will allow people to forget. We need to take that and the social media posts from Charlie Kirk's murder, and we need to just have a national TV advertising campaign and say, here is the modern Democrat Party. If you don't believe us, listen to them in their own words. These are not fringe people. These are not one-off lost voice somewhere in the wilderness. This is your Democrat Party, and they're demanding their elected officials adopt this type of mindset. They're violent, they're intolerant, they're militant, they're myopic, they're angry, they're hateful, they're bitter, anti-American, TDS idiots. But we're going to let them off the hook because we don't have the savvy consultants and operatives to run the national TV media campaign demonstrating all of this. And that's what we should do for the midterms. Donald Trump has come up with a great idea. He wants to have a convention instead of for the 4 years. He wants to have a convention this year for the midterms for 2026. Best idea I've heard in decades. I'm all for it. But we have to associate all this anger and hate with the entire Democrat Party, because unfortunately that is their party today. But we don't. Again, Seth, you're right. You talked about having the backbone to really take them to the mat on this. This woman who just had this tirade, this filthy tirade, She should be shown. She should be on every major TV network media market, as this is the face of your Democrat.
I hear you, but we hear you. But the problem with that is, they're not taking that ad on The View. They're not allowing that ad to play on CBS or NBC or any of this nonsense. That's problem number one. Problem number two is when you present facts to Democrats, they say you're lying.
Of course.
Don't believe you. So why, we're throwing pearls before swine, and it costs them tens of millions of dollars to run these ads, and they just say you're lying. Like, it doesn't matter what we do, what you tell them. If you're lucky, you can get through one-on-one with a reasonable person, maybe, but through the media, they are not open to it. I really don't. I feel your passion for it, but I just don't.
They'll cover for it.
They
They'll
have
cover for it.
Have to. It's called equal opportunity. You have to. If you.
But again, it doesn't matter. Even if we could get it on, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter because they do not believe you. Try to give a when you argue. Have you ever argued with a lib on social media and you give them a definitely
many times, and I had to give up.
Right. Fact, and they either say that's not true, or they just they lie, or they move on, or they bob and weave. They're allergic to facts. So for us to put all of our money into trying to give them facts, I don't know if that's the best use. I see your point, and I do, but I think it's worth exploring. But
yeah, I mean,
somebody's you got to. I mean, look, they've lost millions of voters nationwide. We know that. This would only, there's some you're never going to reach, no question. But we should facilitate the millions of people that are hemorrhaging and leaving that party, because they are. It's good news, but we still have to inspire them to vote for us. But we can facilitate this fatigue that people have with Democrats. We can't let them think that political violence is 50% right and 50% left. It's not. There's a huge disparity. It's coming from the left. But we need to do a better job of associating that with people, because, of course, they're covered by the print media. They'll never do it themselves. They cannot police their own ranks. They can't police their own ranks because it's not a fringe group. That's who they really are now. And I would love to see this how many people remember an avowed socialist, Bernie Sanders supporter, walked onto the baseball field, asked who was out there playing baseball and practicing, identified them by the Capitol Hill police, I believe that they were Republican congressmen, walked back to the trunk of his car, pulled out an automatic weapon, and started shooting the place up, trying to kill him. How many Americans remember that? Yeah. That the Dayton, Ohio shooter was an avowed socialist. Okay, how many? We let them forget. We don't create the narrative and present it to them cognitively so they remember and create a picture and a perception. Remember, in politics, perception is everything. We don't create the perception we need. We leave it up to people to sort through the facts and the noise and come to the conclusion we want them to. People don't have time for that today. We're not good communicators. We should absolutely be taken with this vile, sick woman, and she's sick. She's disturbed, and just say, here, you want to know about your modern Democrat Party? The next time you're told they're for the working person, or that they're tolerant, or they're for democracy, here, listen to them, and then just give them the long line of people like this. The Charlie Kirk, the explosion on social media after Charlie Kirk died. I was sick. I said, you got to be kidding me. Is it that bad? Is it that bad? I mean, people cheering him. He deserved it. Get his kids next. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? But here it is. But we're going to let people forget. That's a failure on our part.
It is. Jack, let me ask you a question.
I got to go again because, our great producer told me when your phone overheats, it starts getting static. I don't want to interrupt the show, so I'm going to let you guys finish it out. Thank you very much.
All right.
Talk soon, Damon.
Apologize. Okay, Damon. Get my laptop fixed. I don't know what happened. So
okay.
Yeah. All right, Jack, real quick answer. During your campaign, were there any instances where you had a conversation with a Democrat and you got through to somebody?
And got through to them? No. No.
I didn't think it was going to be that quick. Okay.
One, it deteriorated, and at least one, I thought he was going to attack us. And we started out as nice as can be. I mean, we're not aggressive. We're trying to have a discussion with him. And he was just losing it. And this was a guy probably in his mid-30s. And finally, he got so ticked off, his girlfriend had to intervene pull him back. No, we didn't convince any Democrats. Not in our neighborhood. So.
All right. Well, we got one last thing that I want to bat around with you guys here. I want to go back to the beginning. We started with Zoe and Mamdani taking over New York City. We talked about how this has been a slow burn over the last 20 years, little pockets of, very strategically placed, Islamic communities taking over. Now we have people in Congress, and it's all purposeful, obviously. And here's one video where an imam is talking about a piece of their strategy to take over America. Let's play this clip.
Yeah.
We are buying these churches. We bought 3 churches so far, converted them to masjids, and now we have one we are buying with a school to make it, because we have to serve the same people. The people who were part of that community, one day they will be Muslims, inshallah. 100 years ago, they invaded the Muslim world and they built missionary schools and destroyed Islamic schools and masjids. Today, we bring the favor back, turn their churches into masjids and their schools into Islamic schools. This is an election year, but we're not going to be happy with either candidate. We have to be happy when Islam becomes the best candidate for us.
Seth, what you got?
You got, like I said, France, England, Sweden. Look at them. If we are not careful, if we keep trying to play the good guy, keep trying to be all welcoming and inviting, and we welcome everyone. Lady Liberty, bring us your tired, your poor, your weak. If we keep doing that, we are going to lose this country within the next 10, 15 years. Muslims do not want to assimilate. They want to dominate. They've made it very clear. Even if they haven't said it like this moron is forewarning us, just look at Europe. And then look at the places in Europe that don't let them in, like Poland, who flat out refuses to let them in. Look at Poland. Clean, quiet, good country. Look at Japan, who flat out refuses to let Muslims into their country. They've got no problems. Everywhere Muslims go, everywhere, there's death, there's destruction, there is lowering of all standards of living. That's why they're dangerous. And what makes them more dangerous are the libs that support them in this country, that refuse to see the writing on the wall, refuse to see the facts. Like you're saying, you can tell them, hit them in the head with the facts, they ignore it. Islam is not a religion. It's a political party. It's a political ideology. It's all about how you take over, how you get in, and how you keep control and what you do to keep control. Their religion isn't based on anything other than submission. Submit. Christianity is choose. That's the difference. So either you want people in your country that demand you submit to them. There's no compromise. You will do what we say or we'll kill you. And that's what they're going to do. Again, look at Europe. I'm not lying to you.
I know. It's happening.
We need to fight. Dearborn, Michigan should be burnt to the goddamn ground.
Look at Nigeria.
We should send the Marine Corps in, clean up that entire goddamn city, deport the ones that don't fight back and aren't killed, and rebuild it. Because if we don't do it now, we're going to have to do it eventually. Like Patton said about Russia, if you don't let me go in now while I'm here, we're going to have to do it further down the road, and it's going to be twice as hard. If we don't take care of business now, in 10 years, it's going to be near impossible.
Jack, in New Jersey, are you seeing this rising? I mean, I have.
Well,
New Jersey.
Yeah, I know Patterson, New Jersey, and North Jersey. They do the call to prayer 5 days a week or 5 times in a day.
That's where my family came when they came from Italy. They first went to Patterson, New Jersey, before they came to Brooklyn. That was an Italian neighborhood.
Is that right, Justin? Is it Patterson? Were they?
Yeah, Patterson has I think a pretty heavy Palestinian population, a Muslim, at least sympathetic to Palestinians, and
It's the mayor and the board. Everything. That's how they pass the law.
The assimilation of it. This is again. We just have not watched our immigration system. I mean, the good news is I think ICE and DHS are now saying that 2 million illegals have been either deported or self-deported. I think that's pretty good within the first year of Trump's second term. If we can do that every year, we start to get better control of this. And we again, it's political will. I keep reading and hearing about potential fraud with Ilhan Omar and how she perpetrated fraud on our immigration system. Look, I want accountability. Go in there and arrest her if she did. Charge her, look into it, open investigation, and then deport her. Would that be funny? Yeah, it would be great. But think about the calculation here. Who decided that all Somalian immigrants should go reside conveniently in the same congressional district in Minnesota? That's no accident.
Yeah.
Calculation.
That was Obama.
Calculation.
It's absolutely calculated, and it's clear as day. And when I tell some people who haven't really grasped this yet, might not, I think it'll enter the popular conversation. And 5 years from now, when it's such a boiling point that everyone's going, what happened here? I tell people this and they're just like, no. Literally, like, I find it really incredible, how hard it is to even talk to conservatives and explain to them that they're under attack and they don't know.
The culture war. This is part of the culture war. And what Islamists have met the Marxist wing of the Democrat Party, and they're working together. Now, they can't do it forever because they're diametrically opposed on a few things. But right now, they see a common enemy, America. Mamdani is the perfect example. You get these left-wing Marxists out of New York City that think, oh, it's great, let's elect this guy. Or they're going to regret that. They're just going to live to regret that. And I hope that they are open-minded enough someday that they learn from it. As long as they can learn from it, the tomorrow can always be better. It's when they are so myopic that they refute facts where you can't discuss anything with them. That's the danger.
Yeah, and this is uncharted territory because we've never dealt with an internal invasion like this, and it has happened so very quickly. Yeah. It's really disturbing. We're going to wrap it up, guys. I'm going to give you each a few seconds for final thoughts. Jack, what you got?
I would just throw in the difference between Europe, what's going on in Europe, and the United States is the United States is armed. Europe is not. So this is going to be another factor. It's only going to go so far before there's a flashpoint.
Yeah, that's a good point. How about you, Justin?
Look, I would say, always be confident and optimistic. Always bet on America. Never bet against America. As long as, de Tocqueville said we are a great country because we're a good country. So I always try to be optimistic about the future, but, no rose-colored glasses. We have serious issues, and but I do believe we can get it done. We can get problems solved, and we can continue to resolve and maintain this constitutional republic. It's the most marvelous experiment for human civilization.
Yeah. Awesome. How about you, Seth? Final thoughts?
I want to read something real quick from Thomas Jefferson, and it sort of kind of applies to what we're talking to, but overall, I think we'll get the meaning. And what country can preserve its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. The remedy is set right there to them as facts. Pardon and pacify them? What signify a few lives lost in a century or two? The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. That time is coming. Everywhere you look. Everywhere. And we can choose to ignore it. We can choose to pretend it's not going on, and that's at our peril. I'm not calling for violence. I'm calling for vigilance. I'm calling for people to be aware, to know what's going on around them, to have a plan and know what they have to do when the time comes. It's obvious. Like you said earlier, Trump is one man. He can't fix everything. He can't do it all. So he's fighting his own party. We can't depend on him, not because we can't, it's because his hands are full. It is us. We, the people, are the ones that are responsible for this country. We are in charge, and we have forgotten that. And we need to remind people, this is America. We got no problem punching you in the mouth. None at all.
Yes.
Come here, be part of us, or leave. That's the only choices you got. And before I go, in Jersey last night, it was great. You boys in Jersey party crazy. My God, I was like a stranger in a strange land.
Can you imagine if we won?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd have been hiding in the corner,
Yeah,
crying.
we were mourning.
Yeah, it was a wake. It was
Yeah.
a wake.
Oh man, I'm sorry I missed it. Well, guys, this was a lot of fun. Thank you all for all your input tonight and great conversation. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Damon. If you're still watching, we miss you. But thanks for being here. And guys, if you're still watching, make sure to sub, drop a sub, like this video, share it out, and we will see you next week, 8 o'clock on the Pulse. Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone. Good to see you.
Right.
Thank you. God bless.
Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country, America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.